Hey there, Jeff Manchester, Manchester Music, and the reason you've clicked on this video, I hope, is to make a determination about two microphones, the Shure SM7B and the MV7. Sorry, it sounds exactly like the last couple digits of every postal code in this country, in Canada, so I'm going to mess it up probably, but anyway. I know you're here to make a determination, but I don't want to make it easy for you. And that's why we are a little bit cropped in so that you can't see under the screen where a couple of microphones are sitting. I want this to be a truly blind, if possible, test because I don't want to be some YouTuber telling you what to do or what not to do. I want you to use your ears to make a determination about which microphone might sound best in your studio for whatever application that you have. And you can't do that if I'm kind of forcing the witness with some opinions. I will give opinions though, but for now, I just want to make this purely about what you hear. So we're going to have microphone on the left, my left, I think it's your right, but my left is going to be microphone A, and the mic to my right is going to be microphone B. And I'll put them on the screen and I'll flip back and forth so that you can really get a sense of what they sound like on my voice. Now, a couple of nerdy things before we really go deep into this video. The first is I will do some loudness matching between both microphones. And this is just to make sure that you don't listen and, one's louder and that makes you go, oh, I like that one more. Because we are, for better or for worse, really attracted to things that are louder. It could be that in a kind of primal way, we are more interested in the tiger rustling around in the grass than we are like the leaves blowing in the trees. Those things aren't threats to us. So anyway, we're going to loudness match in post, although I've gotten things pretty close with the capsules and with the gains on both the systems that are bringing these mics kind of to life for the channel here. The second thing that I want to say is that I am using a presence boost with the M7V, or MV7 now I'm forgetting, the USB Shure microphone. And that's because I have a presence boost employed on the SM7B. I'm going to get this wrong, probably. The kind of analog, right? Mic with an XLR cable and all that stuff. And it's just because I want to be fair and balanced, okay? I want to make sure that I am matching these microphones as much as possible. And for those on the channel that have been here before, and welcome if you haven't, you'll know that I use an Apollo interface, and make sure you know that I have turned off all, unison preamp, simulated preamp processing. So we are getting as matched possible a pair of sound sources here, or microphones on a sound source, my voice. So I just want to kind of get that all out in the open. Now, a couple things to know about these microphones. One of them is fully analog, more or less, and the other one is USB. Some people might take issue with my analog word there, but anyway, you know what I mean. And that means that there is a bit of a price variation, but it might surprise you, given everything one of these mics can do, why the other one is so expensive. And the other one that's expensive here is the analog one, the SM7B. I'm not trying not to look at which mic because I want to do that to describe it, but then that would give it away. One of the mics is more expensive. It's the SM7B, and it's expensive, but in sneaky hidden cost ways too. So not only is it just more expensive objectively if you go onto Amazon, at least in Canada, but to make it work, to make it sing, you will have to buy 2 XLR cables. Some people might get away with 1, but you'll need 2 because one of them is going to go into something to boost the body, the gain of the audio. In many people's cases, it's a cloud lifter. In my case, I didn't like the cloud lifter. I bought it, I returned it. It's going to be, I'm using a Dynamite by SE, I think, Dynamite 1, DM1. It's great. And then you're going to need an interface to stick, the XLR into to get sound, running to your whatever it is, blog, vlog, podcast, yada, yada, yada. So it's just on its face more expensive. And then it is more expensive after that with all the things you need to make it kind of run and make it hum. Now, the other one, the USB one, has none of those things, and it's cheaper. You don't need an audio interface. You stick in, either USB or USB-C, whatever, right into your computer. You don't need XLR cables. Cables are included, no interface. It's very plug and play, very ready to go. And if you don't know which mic is which, you probably already made up your mind and you're going to go for the MV7 or M7V, I'm forgetting. But anyway, I want to put those things up front because it's often said that the microphone, the analog one, is more expensive, and that's true. But there's hidden costs beyond that will probably play into your kind of decision-making process when going to go purchase something. So, with all that out of the way, we should probably stop being so cheeky and let's zoom out, and you can see what I'm really working with here. So, mic A on my left was the SM7B, the mic of the channel. Mic B on my right was the MV7, the USB mic. Don't think about it. Don't go back. Write in the comments right now which mic you liked more out of the two that I was auditioning back and forth. I'm really curious. I want to know. Don't overthink it. Just leave a comment in there. And I also want to know too, because I'm making this video on this channel, so I'm interested. I'm not monitoring this right now either, so I don't know which sounds better. But please let me know in the comments. Now that we're kind of like in this together, we know which mics are which. Let's do a couple of tests that I think are really important, especially when validating a microphone's quality in a broadcasting vocal kind of sense. So the first thing I like to do is just understand the room noise, the self noise that a microphone brings to the table. For those of you that have seen my earlier videos on the SM7B, you'll know that it replaced an AT2020 USB-I, which is a super capable mic. It was a condenser microphone though. These are both dynamic, so they have different kind of tonalities and things like that by function of their kind of components and all the rest of it. But one of the big things I loved about the USB-I 2020, the AT USB-I 2020 from Audio-Technica, was its self-noise was just dead, quiet, nothing. The SM7B, on the other hand, it was a little weird. I still can't really figure it out. And a lot of people in the comments to this day are still trying to, make me understand why it's this or that, or I got to plug it into this wall, or it's the preamp that's the problem. I don't know. But let's do a little test. My air conditioning is off. You can see that I'm sweating. Everything is off. You're going to get some Mac Pro noise, and you're also going to get some noise just because we're in a room and there's always a noise floor, but it's pretty darn quiet. So I'm going to turn up the gain about 35 dB a piece, just clean gain in post, so you can really hear what's going on here. And I will stop talking or breathing so we get a nice clean room tone and self-noise tone, if you will. Here we go. So I'll be very curious to hear what that sounds like in post, which one kind of comes out on top. Now keep in mind, a lot of the software, the NLEs, the DAWs that we have, and third-party plugins, there's noise reduction technology. But obviously, if you're a snob like me, you want to get everything right at the source. So that really matters to me, is the self-noise aspect. Let's move on to another test, which is the Plosive Test. You can see on the SM7B, I'm employing the larger shield. Two come with the microphone, which is great. One, which is a bit more slender, you'll see it here on the MV7 style, and then a larger one for broadcast, for dialogue. And people don't read the manuals, but they actually say that this larger one is optimized for speech, whereas the other one is a bit better for non-speech instruments and the like. So that's why I have this one on here, and it's pretty darn good at mitigating diffusing plosives, which are bursts of air that hit a microphone's capsule and cause a little clip, just like a so usually this is brought on by words that have B and P at the front of them. Let's do a little test now. I'll just repeat the same thing twice and we'll see what they sound like. Piper Parabo punching pineapple pancakes. Piper Parabo punching pineapple pancakes. All right, let's see who won in post, but very curious to know how that turned out. And by the way, I will be turning off any deplosive kind of work throughout this video, just because I'm lazy. I don't want to do it selectively, and I want to put these guys kind of through their paces. Anyway, so that kind of gives you an overview of a bunch of different aspects of this mic. Again, I don't want to be leading the witness, forcing the hand, whatever metaphor you want to use. I want to know what you guys think sounds better, coming out of both mics. Genuinely want to know. And the other thing I should mention before we go away here is that the MV7 does have some very snazzy technology, which I hinted to with that presence boost screen capture sequence. One of the cool things is it has two modes. A little bit like when you're shooting on a camera, you've got manual and then you've got automatic, which kind of does everything for you. Automatic is kind of a setting here in the software, which is really nice. It'll kind of follow your voice and not track it around the room, but You can let it know if you're far away or close. It's got this auto level mode, which is really interesting. A bunch of presets to, add brightness and body and tone and all the rest of it. But there's a manual mode as well, which I'm on because I'm a manual person. And in there, I've configured some settings to give a bit of a dB boost to make it realistic with what I'm running through my Apollo here for the SM7B. I don't have the limiter on, but I do have that presence boost. So you can go in there and configure things, which is really cool and great for people just starting out. And so I thought I'd mention that as a real qualitative difference to the experiences of both microphones. Anyway, why don't we leave it there? And I'm curious to know what you think. As ever, please leave a comment. I read all of them. If you have questions, vodcastpodcaster@gmail.com, Twitter @JeffManch. As always, thank you so much for watching. Take care.